I'm Gabe Lullo, and welcome to the Do Hard Things podcast. We're talking to go-to-market leaders and entrepreneurs who have conquered the challenges, the hustle, and the grind. Get ready for real talk, real insights, and no fluff.
But the hardest thing in the world right now is not actually closing deals, it's actually getting somebody's attention.
If you don't have that hook in that first 5 to 10 seconds, guess what? They're going to scroll to the next one.
You need to go in and you need to make it sound like yourself. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle. And I promise you, we can all tell.
The people that are trolls and the people that are haters never done the thing that you're doing.
I love doing this podcast because I get a front row seat to some of the greatest minds in sales.
Gone are the days of saying stay in your lane. When you're an executive leader and you're an enterprise-wide leader, there are no lanes. You've got to be partners.
Curiosity is like when the type of questions you ask is sometimes the value that you bring.
I need you to tell me when you're ready to buy or what you're ready to do. And I think it's changed so much into like adding more value. And if you're not doing that, then you're definitely going to come off as desperate.
High pressure selling is like a dinosaur tactic at this point.
No parent is like, oh, you should be a salesperson when you grow up, right? Everyone's like a doctor, lawyer, whatever crap. It's never salespeople.
It's not your job to motivate people. It's your job to find motivated people.
It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence knowing I know this and I know that I can help you.
From where I started to where I am today is all because I learned how to sell.
And there's too many people who have only been doing this for 5 freaking minutes. Sit down, close your mouth, actually go out there and get yourself beat up. Then come back and tell me if something is dead or not.
That is exactly why I started this podcast, because right there, that's the epitome of doing hard things.
Welcome back to the Do Hard Things podcast with Lexi and Gabe. Today's guest is Robin Dimond, CEO and founder of Fifth Cor, a marketing and innovation company built on a simple but radical idea: bring the senses and the heart back into how brands connect with people. The name says it all. Fifth for the 5 senses, core, Latin for heart. Robin started the company fully self-funded, no outside investors, no safety net. There were days where she was both the janitor and the CEO. She lost friends, missed milestones, and watched trusted employees steal from her. But she kept going anyway. Today, Fifth Cor works with brands ranging from startups to enterprise, and Robin sits on 4 school boards, champions veterans, and first responders. She doesn't believe in burnout if you're doing what you love. She believes in advisors, cold plunges, and setting your goals so high that average never feels like an option. Robin, welcome to the show.
We're back for another awesome episode. Robin, we just heard your bio. It's incredible what you've been able to accomplish. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. How's it been going?
Good. Very busy. Thank you for asking.
I know. I'm glad we were able to squeak this in. I can't wait for our audience to hear your story. Well, let's get into that origin story where we always like to start with our guests, right? You know, you built Fifth Cor fully self-funded from day one, no PE backing, no investors, bootstrapping this thing. I mean, that's a choice that a lot of founders really don't make, right? So why did you go through that route? And what did that really cost you early on that you weren't maybe expecting?
Ooh, it cost me everything. I'll have to say that. And that is not a small statement when I say that. So it wasn't really a choice. It was a hurry up and get done. I thought that small business loans would be out there. I thought money would be accessible, and nowadays it's not. So the other option was private equity or VC, and that meant giving away decision making. And I knew that was not where I needed to head because this was going to be something totally different. So I leveraged my home and my vehicle. So when we say we put it all on the line, people are like, how do we know you're going to show up? I'm like, I won't have a house if this doesn't happen. So when I say it cost everything, it also cost a lot of relationships. People were like, this is the dumbest thing you can do, and we want no part of it. And so family and friends stepped away from me. So it became extremely isolating.
Wow, what a powerful story. And then you ended up building such a great brand. The name came from when you were in Nashville. Can you walk us through that moment and what made you felt like you were going to go forward with this name?
Yeah, so fifth represents the 5 senses, and core is the root word or Latin for heart. And I thought I needed heart, which is also the root word for courage is core. And I needed courage to do this. And so I was sitting on Fifth and Broadway in Nashville, and I was feeling all the feelings of all the sensories and smell, taste, sight, everything that you could think of when you're sitting in a restaurant and having the wind blow and hearing the music play in the background. And I thought, this has to be something that's different. It has to be my whole heart that I'm investing in. And so Fifth and Core just stuck, and I Googled it and no one had taken it. And so I was like, done. That's our name.
I love that. It's so awesome. And, we were so happy to have you on the show because as everyone knows, the name of the show is Do Hard Things. And you said to us in the green room that, your journey was really filled with hard times, right? So some of the days you were the janitor, right? Some of the days you're the CEO and, juggling all of those or spinning those plates or juggling whatever analogy you want to use. You're sometimes doing it literally in the same hour. And so what was that hardest stretch? What was that moment like? And what kept you from not walking away?
Again, I think I didn't want to walk away because I knew how many livelihoods were on it. It's not just my employees that I'm funding financially. So there's the days that I want to give up, but people have mortgages, they have families that are attached to this business. Then you add my clients into it, that their livelihoods are now, they're trusting us with their entire marketing strategy, their branding strategy, their investment. And then you add our partners, which is a whole nother layer. I realized that if I did this ripple effect on certain days would affect not just my life, but so many other people's lives, livelihoods, and families. And so on the day that you want to be sad or like you can't, just get up and shake it off because you have to go on. And I think it's the juggling part that a lot of business owners don't know that they're gonna have to do. They don't know that you are going to be the accountant, the janitor, the legal advisor. You're gonna be your own best friend. You feel like you get the bends, I say, because you're making very low level decisions and then very high level decisions. So it's like diving, but all
Right.
day, every day. And no one talks or prepares you for that. And if I could be transparent, if anybody wants to call and cry in a pillow with me, I would be so transparent to say those are the hardest days because you get done by the end of the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I just made so many decisions. I have decision fatigue.
Wow. And you did say that a trusted employees were stealing from you and the financials started to get really hard and you didn't ever leave an employee or a vendor unpaid. How did you keep it together and what does that betrayal really do to you as a leader?
And not to get emotional or there, you trust people and it's more than a relationship. Partners, employees become almost like significant others. You give them access to things and it hurts. I did someone's wedding and was there and in pictures of their wedding and literally didn't know at the time that they were planning on taking clients and money. And so I think the betrayal is one that I've never felt before, ever. And I hope no one ever feels that. Um, but it comes with part of the business and you have to look at everybody else who is good and you have to sit there and say, okay, it can't affect them.
Yeah. I mean, that is so hard. And, you've also mentioned earlier about that personal cost when it came to losing friends and missing family moments and being home 3 days out of the month. At what point did you really stop apologizing for it and just start owning it and going all in?
I haven't, Gabe. Can I be like I have to be super honest, I still apologize
Yeah,
for it.
for sure.
I still miss moments of people's lives. I still miss things. I could just this weekend, I couldn't be at a funeral because I was already committed to something else, and you start missing, your friends' moments, and it's like you're gonna miss something all the time. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I know how to say sorry yet or not say sorry. I hope I never stop apologizing.
Yeah, I could see that for sure, and definitely with just busy schedule and prior commitments, it's hard to move things around, and you said that your drive came from trauma, turning your darkest moments into fuel. You don't obviously have to go into specifics, but what does that actually mean for you, and is it a sustainable engine, or does it eventually run out?
I think I I think I've been raised with a military and police background and family, so I don't know if it's sustainable or sociopathic, I hope. I think that you have to keep pushing. I had a stroke, which everyone actually does know that story and learning how to use my full body, not having facial paralysis anymore. All of those things, if you can get through that, I've started over 2 times in life which has been, from nothing completely getting down to $0 in my bank account and then rebuilding, losing, investment properties that I had, businesses that I had. It's hard, but what's your other option? And I've done the other option, which is sit in your bed and cry. And you do, and you have someone get up and shake you and be like, hey, you got to keep going. And I'm glad I've had people step into my life and say that. But what we do, it's either going to let it affect you and ruin you, or you can build and you can build better. And yes, I'm scared that I'm building the third time in my life and it's building better. And I'm so scared to lose it all again. But I think I'd still keep doing it.
I love that story, and you and I resonate on something. You may not know this yet, but you're about to. Is our commitment to that the people are the secret sauce to the company, and in the way that technology and AI and innovation and all of these agents and agentic technology, I think a lot of people are still getting lost right now in understanding that the value is the people, and you find the best people, you let them do their work, you get out of their way. And I know that sounds very simple, and a lot of CEOs and founders struggle with this, right? Because many of them are admittedly control freaks, and that's a a blessing and a curse in many ways. But on the flip side, what does that actually look like in practice for you? Meaning, how do you find great people, and how do you create a condition or an environment for them to do their best work?
Well, I think culture comes from the lowest people, like interns. If they feel okay to push back, and that's one thing that I've always said to our team is push back. If you think you can do it better, prove me wrong, and I'm okay with that. We promote really quickly in our company, and I think that's very important. We also are okay to say what I'm not good at. So I actually have a team member who is not good as creative. That's what they were hired as. But I would be throwing the baby out with the bathwater if I didn't recognize that they are so good at operations. I don't actually know how I would live without this person now. I really don't. And I'm like, okay, you actually run all of our operations and you guys know them because they're making this whole thing happen. And so it's looking at what people are. It's okay. It's allowing employees to sit there and say, no, this is better. And I know how to do it better than you. I hope you always do. If I'm the best, then this business is going to fail. And it's also finding those moments to sit for them to say, look, I'm not good at this. And I thought I was. Can you please help me? And I'm like, okay, let's do it. I think that's super important. And you talk about AI, it cannot replace the person. It can replace some of the stupid tasks. Look, I can drive to work every day. My car didn't replace me getting to work. It just made me get there faster. AI helps your employees get there faster, but the people behind it are the most important ones. And we find really great people.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I love what you said about pushing back, giving people feedback, and then really being invested in your people. And when you look at what people want for you, if they want to see you win, they'll do something about that. And I know you've said that before. I really resonate with that. A like, a referral, just showing up in general. But if they don't, obviously their words don't mean much. How has that changed who you keep close?
Um, let's talk about it as a dating relationship, okay? So employees are like dating. We don't have to get married. We can go see other people. There are some honest conversations of saying, "Hey, this is not the environment for you. We're not a perfect match." And that's okay. And I think having a safe environment for them to say, "Hey, look, this is not where I'm thriving," or for me to be like, "Hey, this is not where you're thriving." Now, if they are toxic, there is a very clear, thank you so much. You are affecting the lives of other people. You can go ahead and see yourself out. And it's being okay to say that. There are people, this is a stage in everyone's life. And if you are a CEO and you think someone is going to stay with you for the next 45 years, no, they're not going to. They're going to move around. They're going to come back. They're going to go in and out of your life. And it's sitting there and saying, hey, this is a moment in their life. And I hope I can help them get to the next level. And that's okay if they want to leave. If they're toxic, cut them off right away. One bad toxic person will change the environment of your entire company. And it's okay to say, hey, look, this is not for you. And that's very obvious.
Yeah, I love that. I remember years ago, the best thing I ever did was fire our number one producer because, yes, they made the company a lot of money, but they were just a jerk. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, great. You sold all these amazing deals, but you're still a jerk. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with this more. Another thing that I really resonate with you, and you say this a lot, is, you're a super connector, right? Connecting with people. And again, this is doubling down on the people side of of everything is just, going to network as opposed to going to market, right? And building those relationships and scaling those relationships without it feeling transactional. How are you able to do that at scale and build those relationships and connect great people, but not, again, feel like it's just a business transaction?
Two things. I wish you could come to an event with me. Okay, we're gonna have to make that happen. Two, if I turn my computer screen around and let everyone see it, every partner. So even today, we were sending birthday gifts and flowers. It is not about. We had a partner out there, networking partner, that did not bring us one introduction or business for 2 years. 2 years. They didn't have anybody, and so it needs to be authentic. If you're coming to me and Lexi's like, "I need to know your Rolodex," which, by the way, I just aged myself. I need to know who's in here and who I need to talk to. I'm gonna be like, "Whoa, Lexi, we shouldn't be partners. It's what can I do? Hey, Lexi, I saw your LinkedIn. I thought about this. Can I connect you to these people? I think they'd be the next person." It's really coming into it as a relationship and saying, "What can I do for you first?" And again, I hate to use this as an experience, but if I went on a date and I said, "What can you do for me right now?" People be like, nothing, you weirdo." So it's as partnerships, it is how can we help each other? What can we do? What areas or what gaps do you have? How can I help you? If it's writing a press release for you, absolutely. If it's taking you to this dinner or introducing you to this person, those are great opportunities for you to do. And every network should look like that.
Totally. And I want to talk more about marketing and innovation. Most brands talk about storytelling, but then just deliver content. And it seems like it's making a lot of noise and not really doing anything. What's the actual difference between a brand that actually creates that sensory experience and one just making noise out there?
I think we're seeing it more and more. We're returning to guerrilla marketing, grassroots marketing, what they used to say. And we are seeing brands who like do things that make moments because we're all doing this all day long, just scrolling on our phone. And if you're not making a moment, if you're not making people stop and pause, or you're not creating an experience, your brand is going to go away quickly now. And I know every business owner who's about to like write me hate mail, please do. But if you're not creating these moments that stop people, if you're not really telling the story about why you did this, if people don't know the reason behind it, they're not going to connect with you and they're not going to believe in your product or your service.
Absolutely. I love this so far. So, I mean, innovation, you mentioned AI, you mentioned technology, it doesn't replace people. Even the CEOs of AI companies are saying that left and right. But, right, I want to go like granular, I want to go detailed here. So, where does AI actually fit in the future of marketing? And then does it, is it really truly not going to replace people? Or if not, what is it actually replacing?
I think it's replacing the workload of people. And I want to be super clear, like the printing press didn't, it still helped stories get out there. Then social media came and it helped a new avenue of marketing. I used to do billboards. So, like, again, not to age myself, but used to do billboards. There's just always going to be something. We are inundated with material. You cannot keep up without an assistant, without help. So AI is, but it's also AR. And a lot of people don't talk about that. It's augmented reality, creating those experiences that are changing marketing. And people keep focusing on AI. And I'm like, wait, stop. We're creating other experiences. We're allowing things to come to life outside of the computer. That's the part that we should be focusing on. Stop getting distracted by AI. It's coming, it's here, it's not going anywhere. It's how augmented reality, how digital twins, how those things, not virtual reality as much, are enhancing experiences. That's where we're seeing it. And if you say you've never used augmented reality, I'll prove you wrong right now. You are not a puppy when you put a filter on your face. So for all of you who have used their, auto face tune, all of those things, that's augmented reality. It's augmenting what a reality is. So we're using that so quickly and we're seeing that escalate the marketing industry way faster. Canvas, CapCuts, Facetune, all of those things where a photographer used to have to do all of those things. Everyone's so focused on artificial intelligence. And I'm like, wait, there's like way more that's happening in innovation that we should be paying attention to that could replace people.
Is there a specific campaign or project that you've worked on recently that you could talk about? I know a lot of stuff companies you can't talk about, but is there something that you could share?
I can not name the client, but I can name the project that we're working on, and it is really cool because it's farm to table and sea to table. And we are actually, we built out, it's a QR code that sits on your phone, that actually sits in an ice cube, and it says where each oyster comes from in the restaurant. So the servers don't have to know like the experience. So you scan over the ice cube, and on in front of your phone pops out where every oyster came from and then what wine it should be paired with. So we're bringing these experiences in-house to restaurants. What we also did for that same restaurant is in the menu, your food pops out and it kind of tells you what nut allergies, where it came from in the farm. So really bringing that farm experience because we're seeing a lot more people be interested in longevity and their health and they want to know where things come from. So we're able to help with that. And that is the coolest project I'm working on right now. And I feel like everyone should do it.
Oh, wow. So speaking of go to network, we've had two Michelin style chefs on our show so far. One of which is coming out shortly. He's a yacht chef. You go to his Instagram handle, and he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. And he's a very, 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 very good chef, but only on super yachts for billionaires. So I think we have to make a connection
I
here
think you
offline.
do because the food industry, I used to actually own restaurants, so that's where my passion came from, and then being able to take that chef experience and bringing it out to your guest and make them slow down before they put food in their mouth and look at where everything came from. The idea came from Maine. I actually went up to Maine and went in and saw like the boats of like where my lobster would come from, and I'm like, "Wait, I wanna do this, and I wanna be able to tell people the story." So that's actually where the idea even came from.
That's incredible. And we all, Lexi, you know who I'm talking about. We also have another individual who was on the show, I think season 2, and she owns a wine experience marketing business. So she sits down with executive teams virtually and they send wine and liquor. And essentially it's a wine tasting. And it's really great for culture and community of the business, but it's a virtual wine tasting. And I think that would definitely, really work with you. I know we're talking online right now, but
I
this is why we do these types of shows because we get to meet great people and this is networking at its finest. So yeah, this is incredible. So all right, so here's my question, right? You said you've been really, living and giving back to every single day by helping other businesses grow. You just shared a great story about that. You're creating jobs, you're helping them find financial independence. What does that look like in real conversations with business owners who are struggling? Like, what is your approach to that first conversation when they're coming to you to, again, drive business for their families?
The first conversation is what we call a discovery call. So they come on and they're like, "Hey, this is what we need." And we say, "Do you mind if we do some research?" And we just did it. And I was like, "What you came with is not actually what you need. That's not broken. These things are. And actually, we don't fix those things. So here's some partners that I can introduce you to." And they felt relieved. I wasn't selling anything to them. I was saying, "Hey, look, these are where you need to be fixing." Some people are like, they come to us for social media help. And I'm like, "Your social media is great. It's great. I can't make it better. This is what you need in this area." It's actually not connected on the website, and that's all you needed. And so it's looking, some come for therapy, and that is a totally different one. They might not need marketing. They might, need systems in place. They might need solutions. And that is where we sit down and we say, "Hey, look, this is where we've been able to help ops help you out through all your marketing processes. You just need systems in place. You're there." And I think it's having those. And then sometimes it's like, "Robin, we're closing and this is how we need to do it. And we need to do it in a good way." And it's finding them a connection to maybe get bought out or helping their employees get placed in a new location. And that's a very different kind of connection. And it comes back around because once they go get another job someplace else, they're like, "Hey, guess what? Can you help me with marketing?" So sometimes these things take a while.
Yeah, and I can tell you're very passionate about giving back, helping others. You sit on 4 school boards, you support veterans, first responders, you're actively invested in the community, and that's a lot to do on top of growing and running your own company. Why is the community piece so non-negotiable for you?
Well, first of all, I live in the community, so let's just talk about that. We don't offshore any of our jobs. If you want to meet one of my employees, it is not outside of the state of Florida. Come South Florida, you can meet all of our team. I believe in giving back and establishing our own economy. I believe in helping the businesses around us in those areas thrive because it helps us stabilize, if not I'm not getting political or standing on a soapbox, but if I can do it that way and I can support those businesses and I help them make themselves sufficient, the money just keeps pouring back into our industry. It might not be a direct way to me, but it's around, it's providing new jobs, it's providing incomes. So it is really important for us to do that. Plus, our community gives back to us. They're the first to stand there when you need a phone call. They're the first to change your tire if you're on the side of the road. They're the first people that if you are scared to, sell your house by yourself, they're there alongside of you. So I think being there for our community is the most important thing. And I have been told so many times how dumb I am for not offshoring or moving these jobs outside of the US. And I'm like, not only do I have them in Florida, which is probably, and most of their people are right in Miami or Fort Lauderdale. So it's not the cheapest labor, but I don't care about the cheapest labor. I care about quality and giving back.
I love this. So what does legacy look like for you, right? Amazing resume, incredible business, community, advisor, all of these things that you're doing. What is driving you, and what does that legacy look like for you next?
This is a question I didn't want you guys to ask, but I'm okay to answering it. I don't have children. So that's really hard, especially for a woman. And I didn't want to be super transparent, but I'm going to be. Legacy is outside of myself. It is making the jobs for somebody who is going to take over my company. It is helping business owners with their family and remembering it. It's the college student who doesn't get the internship with us, but then goes to NASA and writes me and says, "Hey, thanks so much for not hiring me. This is where I am now." And I'm like, so much better. Um, it's those stories. I don't actually know, to be very honest, Gabe and Lexi, what my legacy totally looks like. I'm figuring that out. It's on my if we looked at my poster board over here, it is on part of my challenge, is to figure out what my legacy looks like because it's going to be different than what most people answer.
Well, thank you so much for being raw about that and direct. And we appreciate you and all that you're doing for not only the community that you're in, but the business world as a whole. And you're an incredible guest. So thank you so much for sharing your story and wisdom. Who are the right people to reach out to you, right? Like who in our audience would be that exact person that you think, you know what, I can absolutely help them, and what would be the best way for them to connect?
So the best people is if you are a brand or a business owner and you are looking to take your product or design or business to the next level and you're ready to make that decision, I think that we are probably the perfect solution. If not, we'll find you the perfect solution. The next would be partners out there who are like, hey, we don't offer those services that you do, but they're adjacent to what our clients need. That would be it. You can find us at fifthcore.com, or you can, and that's the best way, or you can try to connect with me on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn cut me off from connection. So don't be offended. But it is Robin Diamond, no A and Diamond. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to set up a meeting. And I say, if it's coffee or cocktails, I don't care what time of day it is. Let's do both. And we can just talk about anything, even if it's just how to grow your business.
Awesome, Robin. You're absolutely incredible. Thank you so much again for joining us on the show. We can't wait to get this out to the audience. For everyone listening, please go follow Robin and look at her business. It's absolutely incredible. And thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you, guys.
And for everyone listening, keep doing the hard things. And Lexi and I will see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.